Senator Carr.
Wilson, I'll come back to the R&D, but since our chair's raised this matter, why were they so late?
Well, Senator, the tables were released, as you are aware, last.
And I moved for a return to order in the Senate. Why were they so late?
So, Senator, the compilation of the tables is a large exercise across the Commonwealth. Yes. My branch commences the process.
Every other year there's been a large exercise. Why were they so late?
So, Senator, the process starts after the budget. That was a change made 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah. That process takes time to get the right data.
6 or 7 years? You don't move quickly in that. Is that what you're telling me? You don't move quickly, no? 6 or 7 years?
Senator, as has been described, there's no set time frame for the release of the tables.
Yes, there is.
There
is. This is late, Minister.
Well, hang on,
this
Senator,
is late,
Senator.
Much later than every other year.
Well, actually, I dispute that, Senator. I don't have the exact dates in front of me, but I can remember being briefed about this a few weeks ago when you had raised this, and in fact, in previous years, the tables have been released at a later date in previous years, but I don't have the specific dates.
And it was only because I moved a return to order that they were dropped. Right, they were dropped out after I moved a return to order. And is it because they were so embarrassing?
Senator, to your earlier question about whether they are late, I think as Senator Canavan, as the Minister stated, that there is no set time for when the tables go out. And in fact, last year, for example, they were early October.
They were embarrassing then too.
Sorry, I'll make a statement that last year's was a record investment in R&D.
You've got to look at the difference between real and nominal numbers. All the numbers you've read out here were nominal, they're not real. Right? Now, the analysis, if you actually look at the real dollars, there's a drop in expenditure for science and research on like for like. And what you're trying to do now is bodgy up the tables. You want to put a few extra things in. It takes your time, doesn't it? It takes your time to bodgy up the tables.
Senator, I don't think that's a fair characterisation.
Unfair to the officer, but it's not unfair to you, Minister.
I don't accept that characterisation. Let's just leave it at that. But you're free to put whatever claim you would like here.
It certainly am, because you see, this is the problem. There's been a reduction in real terms in science expenditure on like for like. And now the government's trying to find a few other things to put in there to make the figures look a bit better.
No, Senator Carr, as we have outlined, we've made a number of reforms to the R&D tax incentive system. We believe those reforms will lead to a better R&D system. Reforms are before the Parliament at the moment, as I'm sure you're aware. As has also been outlined, we are investing records amounts of money in our premier scientific agencies, such as the CSIRO and AIMS.
That's not true, Minister. In real terms, you've got a decline.
Okay. Well,
and then on top of that, you've got a $2.4 billion reduction in the single biggest item in terms of the innovation spend, the R&D tax concession.
But as we've outlined, the changes we have made are intended to deliver a higher quality R&D and also to better incentivise companies to invest in additional R&D.
Okay.
Of course, it's a good practice to try and avoid taxpayer dollars going towards investments or spending that would have occurred otherwise.
Okay. Can I turn to the R&D tax concession?